3 in those 2 home games. The guys who called it, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman with our Scott Van Pelt.
I try to be reasonable. You know that about me. What's reasonable to say about a New York Giants team who's played 4 games, 2 on this field, both complete unmitigated disasters? If it's not for a miracle comeback in Arizona, they're 0-4, but they got that. Now they've got to go to Miami and to Buffalo. What are we looking at here? Is it too easy to say, look, his team is done?
Well, here's what I think. I'll give you my opinion, and then I'll pass it off to Joe. I think that right now, and he was probably thinking about it on the sidelines, he had the whole second half to think about it, and that's Brian Dable, as to how he is going to react to this loss and how he's going to react during the week. Because this is a team that, because of the games they have ahead of them, it's on the fringe of totally unraveling them. They could lose this season if they haven't already. And how he handles that and holds this team together is going to be the key. The other part of that, Scott, is the problem for the Giants has been the offensive line. Right. And it hasn't just been this year. They've been trying to overcome that offensive line for years, and they've invested in it in the draft, and they just haven't hit on a lot of these guys. But until they fix that, this is going to be an offense that continues to be inconsistent.
You know, what he said, I think, is so overlooked in this league, and that is, how do these head coaches react when everything's falling apart around them? He played for one of the best motivators in Jimmy Johnson. This is the guy in Brian Dable who was coach of the year. He's going to have to coach harder now in some respects than at any point last year when he got his team to the playoffs and a road playoff winning a great year. Right. And they answered a lot of questions. Now all of a sudden all those questions are back, mainly because they can't protect, they can't block up front. It's almost like you can't evaluate what they're doing on offense because they don't have a chance to do anything on offense. So this is a lot of heavy lifting coming up for Brian Dable and the coaching staff of this Giants team, because you know the media in this city is going to descend on the Giants after what we just witnessed here tonight. Daniel Jones, 1-12 in primetime games as a starter in his career. Worst primetime record by any starting quarterback since the 1970 merger, with double-digit starts, a minimum of 10 starts. Giants falling to 0-3. SportsCenter all night. ESPN Radio. Like the Giants, the Bengals are 1-3. Joe Burrow trying to play through a calf injury. He hasn't been all that mobile in the pocket. Earlier on ESPN Radio, our Chris Candy.
The Bengals are done. The Bengals are done. It's over with. Turn off the lights. The party's over. It's a wrap. Like everybody holding on to this, oh, well, with Joe Burrow out there, you got a chance. No, you don't, because you know why? Joe Burrow is only out there by name. That ain't Joe Burrow playing quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. 2 of the last 3 games, you're talking about this offense scoring a grand total of 3 points. 3 points. You got to cut it out. Look at this guy has the fewest passes yards through the first 4 games on an average in NFL history. He can't drive the ball down the field. Listen, people have to stop making excuses for the Cincinnati Bengals and stop holding on to hope that Joe Burrow is going to round into form and be a different quarterback. He's not. That calf injury ain't going to get better. He's a sitting duck in the pocket right now. And the reality is, this team was up against it after the first 2 weeks. It ain't going to happen for the Bengals this year. This is a gap year for Joe Burrow in terms of competing for championships.
Joe Burrow has not looked all that great in the pocket going back to pass. Earlier on ESPN Radio, our Joe Fortenbaugh.
The performance has been abysmal. That doesn't mean Burrow's a bad quarterback.
No.
He's hurt, and it's evident. You're 1-3, but the problem is, your DNA. This isn't a team that gives up under Joe Burrow. We've seen that time and time again. They always believe they're in it. So I don't know if they're going to be able to think in that sort of mindset of thinking big picture, looking to next year. Because that's not in their DNA. And number 2, football guys like Jeff Saturday, we had him on last week, and we respect his opinion. He talks about how it's a calf injury. You got to try to play through it. And if there's no risk of further damage, keep going. You know, eventually it'll heal, it'll get better, and then you can try to make plays on it. It doesn't look like that, but when guys who have dealt with that in the league tell us that, I got to listen to it, and I got to at least process it.
Bengals sitting at 1-3 with a quarterback who is struggling. SportsCenter all night. ESPN Radio. There are 2 remaining unbeaten in the NFL. The Eagles are back to win on Sunday, and of course the Niners. Brock Purdy unbeaten as a starter. Earlier on ESPN Radio, our Chris Carlin.
Brock Purdy is a difference maker for the 49ers.
And there were questions around Garoppolo being the long-term answer. Clearly, they felt that way when they went out and did what they did for Trey Lance. 49ers have their quarterback here for the long term. This is the guy.
Saul?
I think so. And with that being the case, think about how dominant they have a chance to be for the next 3 years when they're not paying the quarterback for the next 2 years after this year.
Quarterback who's a difference maker who might wind up with some hardware? Earlier on Unsportsmanlike, our Evan Cohen.
I want Brock Purdy higher up on that MVP list.
Time we start talking about Brock Purdy as an MVP. Have you watched this guy? This guy doesn't miss. Why aren't we considering him top half of the league in the quarterback ranking? Well, you know what? Why not start considering him top 10? His team is awesome around him, but he does nothing to make them lose, and now he's starting to do things to make them win. Brock Purdy, with one more great performance, should be an MVP candidate. The Niners are still unbeaten. Meanwhile, on the other side of the success spectrum, there are the Chicago Bears. What about their quarterback situation? ESPN analyst Ryan Clark.
I would definitely listen to offers. It's never a bad idea to look to get more assets or more good players in a situation where you feel like you're going to tear what's existing in the building down anyway. And so if you're thinking along the lines of Caleb Williams, you're thinking along the lines of Drake May, who right now seems to be 1 and 2, where you're looking at the college quarterbacks, and you feel that Justin Fields or that experiment in Chicago has run its course, why not trade him, get something back for him? Because if you are in that position to draft next offseason and they know you have the 1 or 2 or whatever pick they'll be expecting you to draft a quarterback, so you'll get low ball offers.
And you wouldn't be talking about trading somebody like Justin Fields if the season wasn't going the way it's been going. Or Joe Fortenbaugh. The Bears lack institutional control. That's what they have right now. They are dysfunctional on every level. And if you're the ownership group and the decision makers there, you can't allow it to continue. You can lose, sure. You can't be an embarrassment. You can't have guys like Chase Claypool, who you traded second-round pick for, just sent home, not even a part of this team anymore. You can't have the quarterback who's apparently a problem have a huge career-defining day and you still blow the game by losing 31-28. You can't have, what is it now, 14 consecutive games where they've given up 25 or more points? 13? I've lost count at this point. The numbers are getting too high for me, Carlos.
1 overall pick. Now, Wembanyama said he didn't think it was going to affect his performance on the court or his teammates.
They know I don't care. I don't care about it. Like, I'm here to make sacrifices for them. Yeah, when it's needed, they're also going to make sacrifices for me, and they know it's different. They know it's going to happen. Of course, there's going to be a lot of attention, but at the end of the day, when everything is done, we're at practice. I'm like, yeah, okay, what do we do to get this team better? So it's really stuff we don't care about. It's basketball first.
This isn't the first time that he's gotten attention. I think just handling it organically is better than making decisions ahead of time that we're going to do this and this and this and this and put everybody in boxes. Let's just roll with it and see what it's like.
Popovich said the team is going to watch Wembanyama over the next couple of weeks without saying much so they can learn how he plays the game and his body. Wembanyama, when asked about the expectations for the season, said he doesn't think he's the right person to answer that. However, he did say his main expectation is to learn how to win. In San Antonio,